Okay, I need to know how many of y'all actually knew about this because I didn't. You know the phrase the real McCoy? Like, I don't want the fake one, I want the real McCoy. McCoy was a black man, an actual person. His name was Elijah McCoy. And I don't know why I never thought about where that phrase came from. I think I just assumed it was one of those things that people had just been saying forever. But no, there's a whole man back there. And his story is fascinating. Elijah McCoy was born in Canada in 1844. His parents had escaped slavery in Kentucky. And somehow, when Elijah was 15 years old, they managed to send their son all the way to Scotland to study mechanical engineering. Which, just that part, that's a story all by itself. But Elijah finishes his training, and he comes back to North America ready to work as an engineer. But nobody will hire him. And you know why. He's qualified, he's trained. But that doesn't matter because he's black. So he takes a job with the railroad as a fireman and an oiler. So this is the crazy part to me, right? You have a mechanical engineer working on your railroad. You refuse to employ him as a mechanical engineer, but then you put him around your machinery all day. What did you think was going to happen? Part of McCoy's job involved keeping steam engines lubricated. And at the time, this was a pain, okay? The machinery had to be stopped so the workers could manually oil all the moving parts. And Elijah, being the engineer that they refused to hire as an engineer, starts working on the problem. He develops an automatic lubricator. Basically, his system could keep parts of the machine lubricated while it was still running. He patents it in 1872. He keeps tinkering with it because he's an engineer. That's what they do. He keeps improving it. He keeps inventing. And this man eventually ends up with dozens of patents. Again, the engineer that they wouldn't hire. And this is how he supposedly got the phrase. McCoy's lubricators developed a reputation for working really well. So naturally, other versions started popping up. But the story goes that those copies weren't as reliable. And the people buying it got tired of figuring that out the hard way. So they started asking for the real McCoy. As in, no, not the version that's like McCoy's. I want McCoy's. So how did his name end up in all our houses? Because of him. That's what happened. The invention itself isn't something that most of us think about anymore. But his name, we kept that. Generations of people have used this black man's name to mean, is it authentic? Is it legitimate? Is it actually the good one? And half of us had no idea there was an Elijah McCoy. I certainly didn't. And I keep going back to the beginning of his story. Because they wouldn't hire him as an engineer. That's what gets me. This man traveled across an ocean to learn how to do his job, came back qualified to do this job, and was told no. So he took the job he could get, and then apparently became so good at engineering that people started using his last name to make sure that they weren't getting somebody else's work. I mean, come on. You won't give the man the job. But 150 years later, we're still using his name to ask if something is the good version. Is it the real McCoy? Apparently, there really was one. Say his name. Elijah McCoy.
Shalom. I want to give all the praise, honor, and the glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bahashim Rachachakotash, and double honors to my apostles, the elders, the teachers, the bishops of Great Millstone, and shalom to you sincere brothers that are scattered, and shalom as well to you few sisters. Now, as you saw, or as you heard in this video, going into, Jake, all right, who is the originator, all right. Jake has invented a lot of things in which they don't get credit for, man. Okay, and that's how this devil, the devil, I'm talking about the so-called white man, Esau Edom, as the scriptures call him, that's his biblical nationality, all right? He wants to, keep you asleep, keep you, distracted, all right, from actually, understanding your real history, okay, and how we have a major impact, okay? You see, if anything, man, nothing would actually operate as is without Israel, without Jake, the Israelites, the biblical Israelites, that is, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and so-called Native American Indians, man. Okay, without us, all right, this world would not be as what it is, because the scriptures say that we are the salt of the earth, okay? We are the salt of the earth, meaning that what? That, Jake, adds flavor to everything, okay? And everything in which you see, all right, actually that is being, used in today's society, all right, the traffic light, all right, the lawnmower, all right, the light itself, light bulbs, you name it, credited by Jake. Now, who takes the credit for it? Esau Edom, the devil. Okay, Jake credited a lot of things, during captivity, hardcore, that is, when, we were brought over to the Americas to make things easier. Okay, you see, because, we were in hell. But who took the credit of those inventions? The slave master. Okay, and they would patent it, put their name on it. But, you come to find out, you do your research, it was an Israelite that created all of these things, man. Okay, and so that's how, again, this man wants to, keep you away from knowing your history. And, he just wants you to know that, you ain't nothing but just, a goddamn nigga. And that's what he wants you to, think, man. Okay. But when you read the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 1, it says, "Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his laborers," man. Okay. This man, he did not give us any credit of our labor. Okay. Everything in which we have, shed our blood, sweat, tears upon, he doesn't give you no credit. When it comes to even Jake, wanting to, operate a business, you have a very hard time because this man does not want you to be successful. And when you are successful, okay, you have to go through all of these different obstacles, before you even enjoy a portion, just a small portion of your labor. Okay, this ultimately goes back to all the curses in which we're in, man. And which we're under, that is. Okay, now let's get a few more, because what you just heard was just one part. Okay, but this right here, you can find this information on the internet, all right? But you have all of these inventions that was invented by Jake. Okay, by Jake. So you can clearly see here, and I'm just jumping around, but medicine, okay, civilization, alphabet, chess, all right, cotton planter, iron board, okay, street sweepers, horseshoe, okay, lawnmower, typewriter, okay, train alarm, all right, the security system. And I believe that was created by a Jake woman who, when her husband was traveling for work, going to, it's like a war, okay, she did not feel safe at home by herself. So, she created, the security system just in case, any, intruders, all right, would enter the house, she would receive that alarm, in order to protect herself, man. Okay. Envelope seal, printing press, ice cream mold, okay, lotion and soaps, peanut butter, all right, what is it? Shoe lasting machine, locks, hairbrush, traffic signal, gas mask, elevators, hairbrush, okay, heating furnace, okay, hand stamps, okay, fountain pen, dust pan, okay, clothes dryer, cell phones, curtain rod, lawn sprinkler, you name it, man. There's so much. Shoes, okay, what's got door stops, doorknobs, okay, guitar, motor, okay, gas burner, kitchen table, bicycle frame, wrench, which that's very important, man, eye protector, okay, what is it called, cell phone system, you see, a helicopter, blood plasma, ice cream. You see, you can go on and on and on and on, man. Okay, and there's a lot more. This isn't just it. There's a lot more. And this is why the scriptures say that what I believe in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, verse 19, it says, "The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is a rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts, Yahweh, is his name." Okay, in the NLT, "But the Lord power of Israel is no idol. He is the creator of everything that exists, including his people, his own special possession. The Lord power of heaven armies is his name. Okay, so if we are the prince of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahshua, the Lord gave this knowledge unto his people, and his people created these things, man. Okay, and we live in a time, we live in a world where, even our forefather, ask, why do we not enjoy, or why do we not have an inheritance, okay, with the world? Okay, in the book of Second Ezra, all right, chapter 6, all right, verse 57. I'll just jump to the point. It says, "But now, O Lord, behold, these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us, because ultimately they're beneath us." Okay, but because of our disobedience towards Yahweh Bashim Shai, we were brought low. Okay, but technically, we're supposed to rule over these nations, man. Okay, but we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given unto their hands. If the world not be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? You see, the world was made for us, really. Okay, and everything that is in it, is given unto us, the children of Israel, that is. Okay, but we don't have, any power over it right now because we are in captivity unto this day. Okay, but this is not going to endure forever. It's going to, come to an end very soon here, where we're going to gain power over the whole planet. Okay, and these nations are going to be under us again, man. All right, so I just wanted to bring that out. Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahshua willing, it was edifying. Until next time, Shalom, Yahweh Bashim Yahshua Barakatah.